How do we, sorry, take these baby, because I'm going to make a mess. You know how I do. Thank you. How to break the drug retail market. The drug retail market has been set up in the African American community across America. There are 6 principles that allow this to happen: historical bigotry, disenfranchisement, implicit bias, fear, apathy, and lawlessness. That's what sets up the drug retail market in the black community all across America and in Riviera Beach. It is not drugs coming into the country is the problem. There is much propaganda that's out there, supply and demand. That's more propaganda. Because when supply and demand happens in the business world, there's a great demand for knockoff purses, Louis Vuitton, or whatever. When they get upset with that market, they enforce the law. They go throughout the United States, they find out where it is, and they break it. We have not had that same mindset in the black community in Riviera Beach or across the United States where we work together. The police department, the city council, elected officials, and the residents has to work as one. In this atmosphere that we have now of what we call racial tension, which is a word that I don't like to use, I like to use culture because there's no such thing as race. We're one human race. This is the point that we all need to work together on. There is more unity in saving manatees, dogs, cats, and birds than it is for black children in America. So we have to work together. The police department has to work in the community 4 days a week once we designate an area. We all know in the black community who's selling drugs. You don't meet with gang leaders. You don't meet with gangs. They're criminals. You put them in prison, one whom I used to be. Now, I know that's not popular with black folk, but you couldn't talk to me until I got locked up. I was arrogant, extremely arrogant. So that same mindset is bred in the streets. These little kids watch that. You have to break that mindset. There is no excuses for anybody to sell dope. You sell dope because you don't want to work. Now, when you go to metropolitan cities, there's a different dynamic. But right now, I'm talking about Riviera Beach. And even in those metropolitan cities, there are youth that are not doing that. There are more youth in Riviera Beach that are not using drugs, that's not into this lifestyle than the ones that are. But they breathe that negative mindsets to the other ones. So we don't need to take them, just bring them out of the community. We must change the community atmosphere. Now, the police department has to work in the neighborhood 4 days a week. Once the designated area is established where we're going to be working. It can't be random. It has to be like from 1st Street until we get to Silver Beach Road. And the police department and you, city council, or whoever's sitting on the city council, we have to set this precedent of working with the residents. The residents cannot come out on their own and take their community because they killed. That is something that we don't like to talk about. That dynamic is not in Palm Beach Gardens. That dynamic is not in North Palm Beach. There's nothing in those communities that when they get ready to stand up for their youth or do anything that can cost them their lives. But in the black community in Riviera Beach, if you come on the corner and say, we're going to change this, we have a whole counterculture that says, we'll kill you. I've experienced it. And I have the credentials to prove it by the Palm Beach Post in 2002. But the work we do, even till this day, I still get threats. But we cannot allow that to keep us from moving forward. We must have higher standards in our community, and it can be done. It is not done because we don't have a will to work with the police department, the city council, and the residents. This must be done for 6 to 8 weeks, and it is a 7-year program. It becomes a lifestyle if you're going to break it. You cannot break this through just going out telling people, you know, we love you, we want to see you change. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that in any other thing. You go down to the city place, you start doing crime, they'll start doing arrests. But they tell us in the black community, well, we just can't do this through the law. We can't police our way out of this. That's a lie. That's a part of the mindset that has low standards in the black community, and it starts with us having higher standards. Because any time you have crime in any other element, they don't bring those concepts to you. They enforce the law. But there's another dynamic while we're doing this we've got to deal with. Disenfranchisement. We've got to deal with that. We do have to offer people something else. I'm not talking about just putting people in jail. No. But we have to offer them something else. But at the same time, we have to hold them accountable. To one group, we must become a blanket of love and concern and covering. And to another group, we have to become a rod of iron. Because when children die and we do these funerals, tears don't bring them back. Tears don't help that mother's heart heal. And it shouldn't have to be like that, but it is. Let me give you some statistics here on homicide. I'm almost done. Sorry, boy. Okay, there it is. Thank you so much. Riviera Beach. This is from the Palm Beach Post Homicide Trafficking. Riviera Beach, 34,000 residents, 101 homicides. West Palm Beach, 108,000 residents, 151 homicides. When you look at these numbers, we got to bring it back. Oh, there it is. Look at Wellington, 64,000 residents, 13 homicides. Lake Park, 8,600 residents. Let me put my glasses on. 9 homicides. Palm Beach Shores, 1,200 residents. Royal Palm Beach, 38,000 residents, 4 homicides. Now, they will tell you that this has something to do with poverty. When you look at those studies on crime and poverty, those studies are biased. This is lawlessness. Because historically, the black community has become the storm drain for whatever goes down. You can do anything in black neighborhood. Anything can go on. It's always been lax. We've never had high standards. These go back to the Jim Crow days. This is 2017. Now let's just go back 50 years. Let's go back to 1967. We had a heroin problem in the black community. A serious heroin problem. Nobody said anything. But heroin now, it's a social what? Problem. But they never did that with the black community. Now, I'm not trying to make this out of, some people say, well, you're being racial. That's what America is. But if we join together and follow this vision and systematically and finance it and work together, this is not about Philip Dukes or whoever have the preeminence. It's about our city. Our city should be the example to the state and the nation in solving this problem. But it's not because we don't have finances through disenfranchisement. And we got to have the will to do it, because when black children die, people are really not concerned. I can take dogs and start beating dogs on E Avenue. Just beat 2 dogs every other week. You're going to see the Peggy Adams Foundation. You're going to see all these folks down there. Everybody going to be concerned. I can take some boiled eggs out of my refrigerator and some bologna sandwich. I like fried bologna. Go on the beach with my wife. Start eating boiled eggs. Have a bag where they can see the eggs. And walking off the beach, somebody going to call the police and say, he got some turtle eggs. And in less than 10 minutes, somebody going to have me in handcuffs. They're going to make sure them boiled eggs are not turtle eggs. Now, y'all know that's a fact. But we don't treat the black community like that. This is why we have to deal with this implicit bias. And that is on all sides. In other words, we're conditioned to act a certain way. We are not conditioned to have higher standards in our community. And it can't just be the police by themselves, as I said before. It has to be all of us together with the police, because we have killers in our community. Don't you? You get some of these gangs and you watch some of their Facebook. These boys are 14 and 15. They're being socialized to a culture of violence. Now, I'm not excusing their behavior. I'm not excusing mine. I became a criminal by choice. I wasn't raised like that. But it was allowed in my neighborhood. Drug dealing was allowed in my neighborhood. The only time that this thing was dealt with was during election time. You know what we call that? Indictment time. So we have to deal with this issue and work together with the residents, with the police department. See, when these police departments are in the community, they have to be in there and they can't be on call. They have to be set up during those hours from 12 noon to 3 p.m. at night, 4 days a week, systematically taking that community back, because it cannot be done any other way. What's going to happen to us which already is across the nation, when our communities go down because of drugs and violence, other people come in, put up stuff we cannot afford, and wherever we go, we got the same social problems. Because no one has a willing heart to do what I just told you. To say, okay, let's invest in the community. It can be done, but the mindset says, well, you've had this so long. Nothing has changed yet because we've never done it right. So it's something about black folk. Let me be black for a minute. That we don't want to work with the police. Now, we don't mind the police coming out to some of the functions we have. But we won't work with the police to enforce the law in our community because we keep making excuses. Little Johnny can't get the kind of money he wants working at McDonald's. Little Johnny can't get the kind of money he wants working at Winn-Dixie. Well, I worked at Blizzard and Burger. I did it. Some of y'all don't know nothing about Blizzard and Burger in Lake Park. I worked there, but I had a mindset when I decided I wasn't going to work, that negative social culture, that counterculture got to me because it was allowed in my community. So we got to get rid of these negative mindsets that we have. What do you have to offer them so they stop selling drugs? Prison! But we don't like saying that.
Mr. Dukes, I'm going to have you wrap it up.
Thank
and then
you.
We'll try to get you on
okay,
the
let me wrap
workshop
it up.
agenda.
Now, when we talking about changing our community atmosphere, this must be a lifestyle of higher standards in 2000, going into 2018. We don't need empty rhetoric because there are going to be more killings between tonight and September of 2018. Watch how the shooting starts. It will be germane to our communities, but we can change our community atmosphere. And I hope you put me on the agenda so I can show you some slides of how this thing was set up from in what I call this modern drug era from 1982 until today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Pastor Dr. Dukes, just one quick question. I know we're going to see more of your presentation in the workshop as suggested by the co-chair, but do you have any knowledge of any documentation that there's any other African American city or majority that has adopted your model so far?
No, because I've studied the Rice Project. I've studied all these different projects. What happens is that there's a culture bias. Well, let me be real frank. Well, black folk and white folk don't work together on this. Now, they don't mind doing certain small things, but what I'm talking about, they don't do that because there's a fear and there's apathy.
So the city adopts this whenever we see it in entirety, it would be the first.
Yes, it would be the first
in the nation.
It would be first in the nation because when you look at America, y'all think about this. When you look at America, look at New York, look at any drug-infested neighborhood. Black folk and white folk don't work together.
All right, I just wanted you to answer.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Madam
much.
Co-Chair.